So in last class, we have discussed about the content. The content what we are going to discuss in our course. It goes for totally 15 days for us, 3 weeks. And the classes will be from Monday to Friday. And the class will start at 4 and it will go for 45 minutes maximum. And we have discussed about some of the computer fundamentals like the meaning of computer. So how to define a computer? It's an electronic device which takes input, processes the given input and provides output to the user. These three terms are important when you are writing the program: input, process and output. And what is a program? A program is what? It is a set of instructions given to a computer to perform a task. And we discussed about software. It's a collection of related programs. We are having two types of softwares. They are system software and application software. So system software, it's mainly to operate your system like operating systems, drivers, compilers, interpreters comes under system software. Application software are like general purpose softwares. And we discussed about language. It's a media for communication. We are having two types of languages, machine language and that is low level languages and high level languages. Under low level, we are having machine language where we use only two symbols 0 and 1 binary format. Then it is very difficult to code. That's the reason they have given assembly language where we use some words like mnemonics like add, sub, mul like that. And high level languages looks like our English type language, like examples like Pascal, C, C++, Java, Python comes under high level. So C is what? High level programming language. And the point is, low level languages are used to develop system softwares, whereas high level languages are used to develop application softwares. So this is the place where C will come into picture, where C is used to develop system software as well as application software. That's the reason a special name is given to C language, that is middle level language. And we have discussed about what is this compiler and interpreter. What is compiler and interpreter? No. So compiler and interpreter are for both the same purpose. What are the programs we write? The programs we call it as source code. Now this source code is not understood by your operating system directly. So we have to translate into machine understandable format. That only we call object code. So this compiler and interpreter is used to translate our source code into object code. So the difference is compiler is going to convert source code into object code at a time. Interpreter converts source code into object code line by line. It's going to check line by line. And C comes in as compiler based language. C is what? It's a compiler based language. Right? And we have added the videos in our playlist. Okay, this is our playlist where you can watch the videos of our classes. Let me provide. Rashekar, you can check from your end. The voice is audible to other people. So anyone respond? Is my voice audible to you? Okay, right. Yeah, Rashekar, you can check from your end. And in order to get the notes and the source codes, please join our WhatsApp channel if you have not joined up to now. So I'm sharing the link also. So I've shared the link of YouTube playlist and even the WhatsApp channel link. Now, so anyone having any questions up to here? let's move to the today's part. So in today's session, we are going to discuss mainly about structure of C program. So before we start, what is the structure of C program? Let me just give what is this C here. C is a structured, C is what? It is structured programming language developed by Dennis Ritchie at AT&T Bell Labs, USA in 1972. C has come into picture in 1972, and this is developed by whom? Dennis Ritchie. Then what is this structured programming language? So when you go with structured programming language, we divide the code in the form of pieces. We call it as functions. In structured programming language, the application is divided into pieces called as functions. We call them as functions. Then what is a function? A function is a subprogram. It's a part of the program. A function is a subprogram which is used to do a specific task. So when we come to the topic functions now, we'll discuss more on this. And what is the advantage of dividing our application into functions? What is the advantage of functions? We'll discuss over there. So when you are writing the code in the form of functions, such type of programming only we call structured programming language. So C comes under as structured programming language. Then, so the advantage of going with structured programming language is advantages of structured programming language. So the advantages is complexity can be reduced. Complexity can be reduced. So when you see the application as a bigger one, we feel something more difficulty to work. When you divide in the form of functions, that complexity can be reduced. So we'll see as a part of a piece only we are going to see, and we are trying to work out only that part. In that way, since we are developing, the complexity of your application can be reduced. Then, and one more advantage is parallel working. Parallel working. Let us suppose in this application, we have divided into totally 10 functions. The application has been divided into 10 functions, and every function I can give to one programmer. So parallelly, we can complete the application. That's the advantage of divide and work. So parallel working. Then one more is reusability. Reusability. So one more advantage of going with structured programming is reusability. So when you divide the application in the form of function, so when I require that function in some other area, just I can call that function. I can reuse that function. So all these things I'll show practically when we come to the topic functions. Right? Now, moving to the major part of today's session, that is structure of a C program. So when you are writing a C program, how it looks, how a C program looks. A C program is divided into some sections. A C program is divided into some sections. The sections are documentation section. Documentation section. Then next one, definition section. Next one, linkage section. Linkage section. Then global declaration section. Main function. Main function. Then this main function is divided into two parts, that is declaration part and executable part. Executable part. Then next one, subprogram section. Subprogram section where we go with some functions like function 1, function 2, like this. Function N. So this is how a C language program looks. So how C language program looks? It has divided in the form of modules. C program, it has divided in the form of what? Sections here. The first one is documentation section, definition section, linkage section, global declaration section, main function, where it has divided into two parts, declaration part and executable part, and subprogram section where we go with some number of functions. Now, let us understand one by one. As an overview, we are trying to understand the structure of C program. As the days goes on, we'll understand this total structure. The first one, documentation section. What is this documentation is? Whenever we are writing the program, we should elaborate about our program in our own words. We should elaborate about our program in our own words. So that elaboration only we do by using a documenting a program. So let me write one by one. Documentation section. The need of going with the documentation section is it is used to document a program. It is for what purpose? To document a program. Okay. Using comments, we call them as comments. Using what? Comments, which are ignored by the compiler. Compiler will not see what you are writing here. And this documentation we do by using comments. And what we do in comments, we'll elaborate what is the purpose of the program. Like on what is the purpose of the program and which date you are writing, who is writing. More elaboration we do by using document. And we do by using comments. These comments are of two types. Types of comments. There are two types, single line comments and multi-line comments. Single line comments and multi-line comments. The symbol of single line comment is / and the symbol of multi-line comment is /* end with again //. Like example, / to find area of a rectangle. This is single line comment. So whatever we write here, this is ignored by compiler. Whatever you want, you can write over here in our own words. Then multi-line comment example, / to find total marks and average marks of a student. So this is multi-line comment. How to go with multi-line? We have to say / and again with / and whatever we want we can write. So this is mainly for documenting a program. Clear this one? Any questions, anyone? Right. Next one, definition section. Definition section. The use of going with the definition section is used to define the constants. Constants used in the program. Used to define some constants used in the program. Like example, in our program, we make use of some constants like pi value. I want to find area of a circle. So when you want to find area of a circle, what is the formula? Pi r square, right? Pi r square. So what we do, pi is what? It's a constant value, 3.14. So we have to define that constant values. So how to define is, we have to say like this, hash define pi, what is the value? 3.14. As defined pi 3.14. Like one more example, like I want to go with one maximum value. So we'll define hash define. So we want to take a max value like 100. So when you want to define some constant values, use it in your program, we do by using hash define. The next one. What is the next one? Linkage section. Linkage section. Linkage section. In C language, there are so many predefined functions. What is the meaning of function? I said it is going to do a task. Like in C language, we are having the functions like printf function. What is the use of printf? Is like use it to display messages. So whenever you want to display some message on our output screen, we use printf function. Scanf function. Scanf function. Use it to read values from keyboard. So whenever you want to read some values from keyboard, we use scanf function. Scan means read, print means display. We are having some more functions like sqrt. Sqrt to return the square root of the given number. Okay, so like that in C language there are so many functions. But whenever we say function, that function code should be available. In function, it goes with some set of instructions again. So where that code is available, that codes are available in a separate files. That codes are available in what? Separate file. So whenever I use printf function, it has to go to that file and invoke that function. So where the codes are available, so we have to link to that file. So that link we do by using linkage section. So how to do that link? Like this, hash include, we have to say hash include stdio.h. Okay, so this printf and scanf functions are present in which file? stdio.h. So what is this stdio? Stdio means standard input output. Standard input output. .h means header file. So .h indicates what here? Header file. So when you say stdio.h means standard input output header file. So this printf and scanf are present in where? stdio.h. So in our program, whenever I use these functions, it will connect to this file, takes the code from that file and runs the code, and it's going to run our application. Then when you take this square root is present in hash include math.h. It's a mathematical related function. So all mathematical related functions are available in this math.h, like square root, power, sine, cos, tan. All those functions, if I want to use in our program, we have to include this math.h. So linking to some external files, that's the reason the name has come linkage section. Clear? The meaning of linkage section? Next one. Global declaration section. I'll come back to this again. The next one, main function. Very, very important. Main function. This main, we call it as a function. So whenever we see this parenthesis now, we call them as functions. So to elaborate in a simple word, what is a function? Hope you may be having idea on Excel. So in Excel, I'm taking some values here like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So these are my some values. Now I want to find the sum of all these values. So what we do, we write here now like this, equal to symbol sum of these values. So press enter key. So it's going to give sum for us. So this whatever you are writing now, this only we call function. So sum of the cell values. So I'm passing the cell names here. If I want to find average, if I want to go with average, what we say equal to AVG of these values. AVG of these values will give the average. Right? So this using the functions like sum, average, those only we call function, which is doing some task for us. So similar way, here also this printf, scanf, square root, we call them as functions. So how they look, we have to end with parenthesis like this. So like that, in C language, there is a function called as main function. At the beginning, we discussed a C language is what? It's a collection of functions we write in the form of functions. When you are writing so many functions, hundreds of functions, when you run our program, there should be some entry point. There should be some entry point to run our program. That entry point only we call it as main function. So in your C program, out of all this documentation, definition, linkage, global, out of all this, the compulsory one is this part. This main is the compulsory one. Remaining all are optional. So why we should write main function in our program? It is the entry point. Main function is the entry point to run a C program. In order to run a C program, the entry point is main. Then it has divided into two parts. Main function is divided into two parts. What they are? Declaration part and executable part. The meaning of declaration part is like, in our program, if I want to store some data, we require some memory space. The name what we are giving to the memory space, we call them as variables. Like example, in our program, I want to store like roll number. In our program, we want to store what? Roll number. So we require some memory space to store the value of roll number. In our program, we want to store student name. So we require memory space to store the value of student name. In our program, we want to store marks. So we require some memory space to store the marks. So these names, what you are giving to store the values, these names we call with a term called as variable. We call it as what here? Variable. So what is the definition of variable? A variable is an identifier which is used to hold some data, which allocates some memory space to hold data. So more on complete definition I'll discuss tomorrow. So this declaration part is mainly used to declare the variables what you are using in our program. So declaration part is mainly for what purpose? What are the variables we are using in our program, that we have to declare it. So why we have to declare? To allocate memory for variable. So what is the point here? So whatever I am discussing today, it's like a small overview only. So it is used to declare the variables used in the program. Why we have to declare? In order to allocate memory space. In order to allocate memory space for variables, to hold data, we need to declare. We need to declare the variable. So what is the need of declaration? To allocate memory space for variables. So without allocating memory space for variable, we cannot use that variable. So if I want to store roll number, if I want to store customer name, if I want to store price of an item, if I want to store account number, then we require memory space to hold data. That name what we give to memory space only we call variable. So in tomorrow's session, I'll discuss more on variables again. Then executable part. Executable part is what? So in this one, we write the statements of our program. It contains the statements which are used to display messages, using printf function, then read values into the variables from keyboard. This we do by using scanf function. Scanf function. Then any other executable statements. It can have any other executable statements like calculations, like sum equal to a plus b, total equal to mark 1 plus mark 2 plus mark 3, like that. So any executable statements, we do it in executable part. So main function, what is the need of writing main function? It's the entry point. It is what here? It is the entry point to run our C program. Without main function, your C program will not run. So compulsory, when you are writing a C program, out of all these sections, the mandatory one is what? Main. And it has divided into two parts, declaration part and executable part. Declaration part contains what? The variables what we require, we have to declare it. We have to mention the variable names. Then executable part contains the statements of your program. Next, subprogram section. So here in subprogram section, we go with the functions. Subprogram section. Since C is a structured programming language, we divide the program in the form of functions. So that functions only we write here. Under main you can write, or you can even write above main also. So whatever the functions we require for our program, we write that functions in subprogram section. So the functions which are used in the application, we write that functions in subprogram section. Like example, I'm writing the function like calculate total. So we write some code here like this, open and close curly braces, and we write some code. So what is this open and close curly braces? Where the function begins and where it ends. You can go with one more function like calculate average, where we write some code inside the function. Then calculate net salary. Calculate net salary of an employee. So we write the function like this. So this is how the function looks. So when we come to the topic functions now in our course, then I'll be elaborating more how to write functions and what is the advantage of going with the functions. Right? Clear? Any questions, anyone? Now, Coming to the next one, see here in this we are having one more called as global declaration section. Global declaration section. So what is this global declaration section is like? Whenever we use a variable, if we declare any variable inside function, if I declare a variable in main function or if I declare a variable in function 1, they are used only within the same function. So whatever the variables we declare inside a function, they are used only within the same function. Outside of function, we cannot use that variable. We cannot use that variable. Let me explain like this. So we are having a function. Let me take here function 1. I'm having a function 1. Here I'm taking one variable n equal to some 10. I'm taking a variable n equal to 10. So when you take programming languages like C or C++ or Java or .NET, a numeric value without any decimal point, we call it as integer. So before the variable, we mention the type of data, integer. So this is what type of variable? Integer. So in tomorrow's session, I'll discuss more on this integer like that. We call them as data types. So what type of data this n variable holds? Integer. That's the reason we have to mention here like this. So then only it's going to allocate memory space for n. Now if I print this, so I'm saying I'm not following any rules here, syntax rules. I'm printing this n value. Okay, so what value it's going to print? 10. It's going to print what? 10. Now, if I create one more function, function 2. If I create one more function, function 2, and if I declare n value as 20, now if I print this n value, what value it's going to print? 20. What value it's going to print? 20 for us. So whatever the variable I declare inside function, this variable I can use only within the same function. Outside I cannot use it. Outside this variable cannot be used. Now if I want to use a variable in all functions of your program, I want to use a variable in all functions of your program, then we go with global declaration section. Global declaration section. So the variables declared in global declaration section are used in all functions of the program. The variables are used where? In all functions of the program. Like example, I declare a variable like this, int n equal to some 50. This is global variable. We should declare outside of function. We have to declare outside of function. Now I am going with main function. In main function, if I print this n value, what it's going to print? 50. If I print n value, it's going to take 50. Did I declare any variable inside? No. So if there is no local variable, if there is no variable inside your function, this variable we call them as local variables. This variable we call local variable. So if I declare a variable inside function, we call local variable. And if there is no local variable in main, if I am trying to print, it takes global value. Say in function 1, I have declared a variable n whose value is 10 and I am printing that 10, it's taking 10 only. So preference is given to local first. In function 2, I'll remove this. Now if I try to print n value, what it's going to print now? 50. It takes global value. It's going to take this global value. So what is that n value? Since there is no local variable here, if no local variable, then it takes the value of global. So the meaning of global variable is we declare these variables outside of function and they are used what? In all functions of the program. This variable can be used in all functions of program. But preference is given to local variable. If there is a local variable, then it's going to take that memory only. It's going to take that variable value only. So preference is given to local. If there is no local, then only it goes to global variable. Right? So more on this. What is this subprogram section, global declaration section, I'm going to cover when we come to the topic functions. When we discuss these functions, now very important. Many beginners, the people who are learning a programming language for the first time now, the beginners, they'll feel confused at this place. Okay, so I'll elaborate with a lot of examples how to write functions and what is local variable, what is global variable, everything I'll discuss over here. Very important topic as a beginner. 2 days I'm taking only to discuss on functions. Right? So whatever I've done today, it's like an overview how C language program looks. So a C language program is divided in the form of sections. What they are? Documentation section, definition section, linkage section, global declaration section, main function, where it goes with open curly brace means where the function begins, closing curly brace means where it ends. Divided into two parts, declaration part and executable part. Then subprogram section where we read some functions here. Clear all of you? Any questions? Right? So let me stop for today. Let me stop here. And tomorrow, let us go continue with the basics part, where we are going to discuss the basic terminology of programming, like the meaning of comments. Once again, let me discuss about comments, a small overview, comments, the meaning of keywords, variables, data types, and how to declare a variable. So these all terms we'll be understanding in tomorrow's session. And from day after tomorrow, we'll start with the practical part, where I'm going to show you how to download and install Developer C++. I'm using Developer C++ to write our C language program, and we'll understand about printf function, and we'll start writing the programs. So from day after tomorrow, we start with the practical part. So before we start writing program, we should know the basic terms of programming, like keywords, variables, data types. Without that, starting the program is difficult. So that we do in tomorrow's session. Right? Okay. So as I mentioned, you can watch all our videos in our YouTube channel. I've shared the link of playlist. Let me do it once again. So this is our YouTube playlist. You can just even browse our channel name, Raj Technologies. And once you open the channel, if you open the playlist, you can find all our details. So in our channel, you can even find related to other programming languages like Python, Java, full stack Java, all those also you can find in our channel. And in order to get the notes, these notes and source codes, whatever we write in future, you need to compulsory join our WhatsApp channel. So I'm even providing the link of WhatsApp channel. So if you miss the link of WhatsApp channel, if you open our YouTube video, any C language playlist YouTube video, no, there you can find even the details about our WhatsApp channel. So you need to join that. So daily updates you are going to get in that channel. Okay. So in the channel, you can find our drive link to access our notes. Okay. So any questions? So thank you all, and see you tomorrow. Thank you all.